What is this? Ted, we're back! Beacon of Speech is back! You know what?
Thought you got rid of us, huh?
Yeah, you thought we were gone. You were wrong. What is Beacon of Speech? Who the hell knows what Beacon of Speech is anymore? It's basically me yelling at the camera. Since I saw you last, look, I gained a little bit of weight. If you look, I take off the hat. Look, I think I'm grayer. Do you think I'm going grayer, Ted?
Probably.
Yeah? So things have gone downhill for yours truly.
Because before your hair wasn't really gray, was it?
No, it wasn't that gray. Now, when I cut it short, now it's growing in grayer. The beard's coming in grayer. It is the steady decline to death. And what do you think? What do you think about my death? My impending death? Awesome! We are so happy. Fred Hunt. I gotta grab my handle. Fred Hunt's death is coming soon.
It is coming soon.
You look as good as the first day we did Beacon of Speech. You look as good as Putin. Are you gonna take off your shirt and do a shirtless?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shirtless Beacon of Speech.
Yeah.
Our topic today is very topical. I wait for impending death.
I got my horse in the garage and I'm gonna go riding.
Go ride the shirtless horse. It is great to be back. It's great to
go riding through Garfield Heights.
Grind through on your
shirt off.
On your newly constructed streets.
Horse will probably fall in a pothole. have to put him down.
We are so happy to be back. So we're full of glee and merriment and talking about dead horses. My goal is to drive Ted's mood right into the ground, just like all the others.
That's a real challenge.
So my topic today, Ted, because I'm back to doing outlines, right? Because I had, ever since my car accident, I have been in a funk. And technically, I'm going to wave my left hand in the camera. For posterity, I have been having trouble with my left hand. So, did I complain about that one in the other Beacon of Speeches?
I don't think so. I don't think I've heard
I'm having weakness in my left hand. So, hopefully that's not impending stroke or something. But here's our topic today, and it is very topical. One of the reasons we haven't done Beacon of Speech, besides my car accident, was one of the other reasons. One of the other reasons we have not done Beacon of Speech.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's been a lot of. I'm not really sure. Why haven't we been doing it?
One of the reasons is work. Would you say it's fair that I've been working a lot?
Yeah.
And you are now on a 3-week, 6-day rotation, right?
Yeah.
And I always feel bad taking you away on your one off day. But again, it's as much as it's your fault, it's my fault. Because I'm like, I'm a big baby. Okay? Because of work. Now, what would make Beacon of Speech just better? What would be better?
What would be better?
Yeah. What would be better?
I don't know. More money for it?
More money for Beacon of Speech. If we had real microphones, if we could set up a real camera, right? HD camera, microphones. Now we're yelling into the MacBook Pro. And even though when we made the movie Blasphemers, this was brand spanking new, now it's starting to go slower and it's starting to glitch more when we do Beacon of Speech, right? So what would help is more money. And that's one. And more time. Why didn't I have an outline last time we did Beacon of Speech? Hurried up, did Beacon of Speech. We're going to do it after work, right? We're going to have, blah, 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 yakety schmackety. That is my fault. That's not Ted's fault. That's my fault, right? But I have been beating myself up since the last Beacon of Speech. I have not been focusing on Beacon of Speech because I've been working. How do you get around working, right? Now, here's our topic for the day is work. Have you been following what's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers?
No, I have not.
You'll get a kick out of this. 2 years ago, Jeannie Buss fired her brother, her own brother, who was the president of the Lakers. And she said, off you go, right? She fired her own brother. I'm going to hire a basketball person to be president of the Lakers. And she hired a man named Irving Johnson. Are you familiar with Irving Johnson?
Yeah.
It's Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson had a big smile and he goes, I can't wait to be president of the Lakers. I've dreamed about this all my life. Blah, 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 blah. Right? After a year, you know what really sucked, Ted?
Working?
Magic Johnson is like, oh my God, I'm in the office first thing in the morning. I'm the last one to leave. This sucks. Okay? And then he called up LeBron, who was a free agent, said, LeBron, it really sucks out here. You know what would be awesome is if you came out here and you can play basketball and make movies and hang out with the other people in LA, hang out with the beautiful people, because you know what sucks? Just playing basketball. If you come to LA, you can turn your brand into something bigger than just a basketball player. And do you remember what LeBron James did?
He went out there.
He said, I'll see you in hell, Cleveland, right? People in Cleveland, see you later. I'm leaving again. I don't give a rat's ass about your community. I got your title. See you later, right? He, again, like the Roadrunner. All you see is a trail of smoke, him going to L.A., moving his family out there. You know, my wife didn't really like Cleveland that much. Anyhow, he's gone, right? But something magical happened. LeBron James went to L.A. and said, hey, friends, come over here, right? And his friends are like, listen, we have contracts. We can't just go to L.A. Magic has to trade for us, right? And Magic, do you know how much work it is to try and get a superstar from another team for nothing? For Magic, all I'm doing is putting it off. And then I tried to trade for Anthony Davis for I tried to trade him. Tried to trade the Pelicans and bring in Anthony Davis, and I worked my ass off, and you know what happened? The Pelicans said no. Do you know how hard I worked on that trade? Right? So he's upset. He's not mad at you, me. He's mad at the Pelicans. You don't understand how hard I worked on that trade. 24/7 I'm working on that trade, and you screwed me. Right?
Once again, like he's the only one who ever worked on anything and it didn't work out.
And he's Magic Johnson, so he's on his phone, right? He's like, wow, I wouldn't mind having that guy from Milwaukee on my team. He's really good. And then the NBA comes and says, that's tampering. That's $100,000 out of your pocket. Magic Johnson's like, oh, that's not fair. I didn't mean to tamper. I was just saying he's a really good player. I'd like to have him on my team. You know what really sucks? Being president of the Lakers and working. So last week or 2 weeks ago, he came on press conference. He says, I quit. And he goes, being president is a grind. He said, I have to work hard. Other people don't want to trade me, people that I want, right? I'm putting in all these hours. I want to go back to being, what does he want to go back to being?
Magic Johnson.
I want to be Magic Johnson, ambassador of basketball. Well, how do you get paid for that? Well, you get paid on appearances. You get paid by NBC. Not NBC. Who's got the contract? ABC. They hire him. They give him $500,000. What do you think? I think that guy's great. I think that guy's great too. And if I say he's great, and then I get off, and then they're all my friends. They're all like, oh, we're all pals. We're all in the basketball fraternity. You know what sucks? Actually trying to get people under contract to the Lakers. Work sucks. And after he did it, people crucified him on the internet. They're like, oh, it must suck to actually run a franchise instead of just coming out and saying, hey, I would like an all-star team, and I hope it magically assembles in my lap because I'm Magic Johnson. And again, I like Magic Johnson. I don't want you to take it the wrong way. I do. Of all the basketball players out there, he's one of my probably favorites because he's a nice guy. He's got a big smile on his face. He beat AIDS. He's like, hey, life is good. I'll play some basketball. You know, make an appearance on a TV show. You know, show up. You know who's really good? LeBron. LeBron's really good, and then go home and spend your pile of money, right? When he was a player, he made tens of millions of dollars. So it must be nice not to have to work.
Yeah.
So I quit because this job sucks. Why does it suck? Because you got to work. Ted, so circling this back to Beacon of Speech, it would be nice if I put 40 hours a week into Beacon of Speech and just say I made you work 20 hours, okay? And now you're like, oh my God, Fred wants me to work 20 hours a week on Beacon of Speech. But if I worked 40 hours a Beacon of Speech, I'd be like, I would not have to do this in my spare time as my second job, right? And you know what really sucks? My first job! Okay? Ted, don't say it on camera. I'm going to push you off the camera. Hey, Ted, what sucks? Does your first job suck?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't say it on the air. We don't know what Ted said. But I'm telling you, the whole premise is like people don't get it. Like, how do you get money? Well, you have to work. Well, work sucks. Yeah, guess what? It sucks for me. It sucks for you. It sucks for Magic Johnson.
Well, I think so. What the problem is somewhere along the line, everybody was brainwashed into thinking that they should like what they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're lucky if you like what you do.
Yeah.
But they make it seem like it's like there's something wrong with you if you don't love what you do.
Yeah.
It's like, well, most people probably don't love what they do.
When we work together, we don't work together anymore. When we work together, how many people, and we're going to take you out of the equation because you're 50, okay? How many people over 50 said, I have X years to retirement at your last job?
How many people? Every one of them.
Every single one of them. Because it didn't have to do with retirement. It had to do with not working at a crappy company that didn't appreciate them. And that's not you talking. That's me. Okay? Your boss right now, the big 400-pound boss that I make fun of all the time. Have you ever heard him say, I only have X amount of years to retirement? Yeah. And he's the one who's getting over. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, we joke around at my job now. We're like, oh, you want to stay. You want to stick around afterwards. And people are like, no confusion. I'm leaving. Right? And I'm like, no, you want to stay. And they're like, why would I want to stay? And I'm like, because you like me. Right? I'm not even the boss. Right? I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, if you want to quit, you can quit. I'm just saying it would be better if you were here than not here. Right? Other people I don't say that to. I'm like, I'll see you in hell too. Right? But I'm going to circle this around. When me and you were young, and I don't mean to, we're going to briefly talk about your dad, right? But, Ted was talking about his real dad who died at a fairly young age. He died of a heart attack. About what age was he?
41.
Oh my God, Ted, you're killing me. I know he's that young. I thought he was in his 40s.
Well, early 40s.
Well, but late 40s.
Yeah.
You could argue he worked to death.
Yeah. He worked until he died.
Right. And a lot of people are like, that used to be the American way. Well, you go and then you go work at Ford or Chevy, and then you work until you die at 67.
Right.
Right? And if you're lucky, you get 2 years retirement. Hopefully you retire early at, 61. And my dad and your dad are about the same age. Your late dad, not, your second dad. But, my dad, he was in the union, and he used to say, listen, you trade parts of your life for a good salary. That was the union way. You're going to work hard, and everybody's going to die. Right? Would you say that's fair?
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, people are like, you know what sucks? Is working hard. Right? But nowadays, there are no Chevy Ford jobs. They're like, no, here's what we want. We want you to work hard for an amount of money that will not sustain your lifestyle. You see what I'm saying? And so you're right. People want to be happy, and they're like, I want to be happy, and I don't want to work hard, and I want to get good pay. It's like, where the fuck are these magical jobs? I don't see them anywhere. I cannot see any magical jobs like this. And they're like, why is everybody unhappy? Because in my dad's day, even if you worked at a crappy job, you were compensated for working for a crappy job.
See, the thing is that those jobs do exist, but there's very few of them.
Very few jobs.
And then those people look at the people who don't have the jobs and say, what's your problem? Why are you so miserable?
Right. Yeah.
Because we're the ones doing all the work.
Right. Oh, and when I say all of us, Ted works harder than I do because I have a desk job for part of the day, and I do. I don't even. That's why I'm right here. That's why I'm getting fat. You can see it. And Ted still looks. If you go back and look at Beacon of Speech, the first one we do on video, Ted looks as good as he did then. Okay, I don't. I look a little more hazard or rugged or whatever you want to say, and I'm grayer. I went gray here, and this hair has come in gray on both sides. Now, some ladies will say, oh, well, he's a silver fox, and I appreciate it, but you are lying. Okay? Now, if I had a ripped stomach, right, if I had a six-pack abs, I'd be like, it doesn't matter if this is gray, because look at this, right? I'm ripped, but I'm not.
Can't you get like a prosthetic that makes it look like you have a six-pack?
Well, that's coming. Once we're popular, I'm going to be like, screw this body. I'm getting the beautiful, six-pack body, okay? I'm barely fitting this.
They should sell shirts that have like...
Yeah. So, but the whole point is that we're Americans. We're going through a transformation. If you look at the cover of Beacon of Speech, me and Ted are what's coming out of the wreckage of industrial America. Right?
So we're wreckage.
Well, mostly me, not Ted. Ted's awesome. I say it all the time. Ted is awesome. If you want to say, like, you know what? Fred Hunt, all he does is scream and yell, and at the end of the day, he doesn't have coherent thoughts. I'll listen to that argument. I will. Okay? But if you're watching Beacon of Speech and you're like, you know who we want to hire? Ted. He's not insane, and he's a hard worker. He goes to work every day. We want to hire him away from Beacon of Speech. Well, that should be fairly easy. It would be like, how many dollars do you have? I'm willing to come over. Right? But I'm lucky to have Ted. Okay? I say it all the time. Very grateful to have Ted. But at the end of the day, me and you, mostly me, are still fat Americans. Okay? Now, do you know what the most successful company, and Ted doesn't know this, so we're going to have some fun with Ted. Do you know what the most successful company in China is?
In China?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Now, not the government. Most successful private company. And when I say private, I mean by Chinese standards, not by American standards.
Most successful company in China?
Right.
I don't know.
It is a company called Alibaba, and it first got on my radar because about 8 years ago, me and my grandfather were watching 60 Minutes, and they accused Alibaba of stealing secrets from Facebook, Google, all the...
Oh, is that intellectual property?
Right, intellectual. They stole their systems, they stole their engineers.
Isn't that always the...
Right.
What we have a problem with China,
right.
As far as...
That's
the main problem with China and trade.
Right. And they asked the CEO, I believe his name is Jack Ma, but don't hold me to it. And they said, what do you think of people accusing you of stealing American intellectual property? And he got in the camera in perfect English, and he goes, oh, the Americans think they have invented everything in the world. We have plenty of smart Chinese in China. Oh, you American, and he's very condescending. And you know for a fact that he stole everything that he did. But he's coming off and he's on a PR. He's like, oh, we are, and I have an Eastern European accent. He sounded, Chinese. But he's like, oh, you Americans, you think you invented the wheel and the air and the ground. Very condescending. And so I remember that interview, right? So I'm reading this story about Magic Johnson, and like literally the next story I'm reading is that the suicide rate at Alibaba is off the charts, and anybody who reports on it like turns up missing, right? Now,
Alibaba is what kind of company?
It's like Google or Facebook, or it's like or it owns, you know what I mean, like digital technologies. Okay? Now, how do you get ahead in China according to the CEO of the largest company in China?
You work hard.
You work hard. Now, even though he is and I got to put in air quotes, he supposedly stole all this American technology, he worked harder than anybody. Okay?
Mhm.
All these ideas the Americans do not have a market on. His whole life, he believes in the 996 philosophy. And that's how you get ahead in China. The 996 philosophy. Do you know what 996 is? Because I never
No.
heard of it before. What is 996?
I don't know. No,
You,
I don't know.
your old boss used to say, I work 24/7. Because he could be called at 3 in the morning and get a call, blah, blah, blah. Go do ABC.
You know what I was thinking of? It reminded me of wasn't it Herman Cain's tax plan, 999 or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. So the Chinese company.
Because do you remember when he was running for
Oh, yeah.
president?
Yep.
And somebody said, I don't know if it was one of the other guys running against him, that he thought that was like a pizza offer or something, 999.
Yeah, I do remember that. But anyhow, so he says the 996 philosophy is how you get ahead in China. 996 is Monday through Saturday, 6 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now, right now, you basically work 9 to 5, 6 days a week, right?
Mhm.
More or less.
Yeah, so there's
Rotating things. So the Chinese philosophy, according to their CEO, is if everybody in China worked 996, we would be as successful as the people in America. Now, what's happening is the people in America, they're not working 996. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, they're working 24/7.
Yeah, they're working 24/7. But he said that he expects everybody in his company to work 996. And they said the quality of life is horrible and it's leading to a dearth of suicides.
Mhm.
And he's like, I work 996 just like you. And it's the same argument you heard from me for 10 years. There was a big difference between working on your laptop for 12 hours and doing what you want and taking calls and taking 4-hour lunches than actually grinding it out being an engineer for 12 hours a day. And so it's disingenuous because what we have exported to China is not hard work. We have exported lies.
Yeah, BS.
Right. Because I'm telling you, the CEO, you bring me that CEO. You bring me Jack Ma, okay? You wanted to interview Donald Trump when he was running. I want to interview Jack Ma. I want to see your schedule 996. Well, I'm in the gym I wake up at 5 in the morning, and then I'm taking calls even before I go to work. So that counts. And then I'm in the gym, and I'm watching the news. So that counts. And then I walk in, and then people come at me. And then when I have lunch, I expense it to Alibaba. And then I'm with my vice presidents all eating lunch.
Yeah.
So I'm working. And then in the afternoon, I am getting serviced by prostitutes under the desk while I am taking calls on the video monitor. You see what I'm saying? So what we have exported to China is BS. And again, he is not Bill Gates. You know the stories of Bill Gates building computers in the garage.
They export products to us, and we in turn send BS.
Right. We export BS. Because, again, Jack Ma was not in his garage like Bill Gates saying, oh, well, if I just take this little thing and I tie it to this, we're going to make a little piece of computer and we're going to put it on a board. And this is the Apple One. Isn't that how? Or Windows 1. And that's not how Jack Ma got it. Jack Ma stole, allegedly, a whole bunch of American technology and says it's Chinese. Oh, it's Chinese. It's got an American stamp right there. Peels off the stamp. It says Alibaba now. I don't know where that sticker came from that said Apple. And again, they have been sued. And again, Americans are not going to win in Chinese courts, right? And again, I'm not sticking up for the technologies of America. I'm just saying, it was not like the great space race. You remember when we were kids and we learned about the Russians couldn't get into space. So there's Russian engineers and there's American engineers at NASA. And we're like, who's going to get to the moon first? And we're going to steal your secrets. You're going to steal our secrets. These are our secrets, blah, blah, blah. But there was a race, right? So it was about the same. We got ahead, and then the Russians were ahead, and then we got ahead, and then you see what I'm saying? The Chinese, the Americans were way up here. Chinese are way down here. Then all of a sudden they had everything the Americans had. And they're like, how did you catch up to us so fast? And we're like, we're so smart. We researched the crap out of it. We got 1 billion people. You think you invented the computer in America. Technically, we did. And you know who had a computer right after us? Like 30 seconds later, the Russians. Not the Chinese. And so what irks me is when the Chinese turn around and say, listen, no, we worked hard. No, you didn't. Okay? But you can turn around and say that about the Americans. You'd be like, oh, well, the Americans did that. Oh, well, the Americans didn't work hard either. Because we exported BS. This guy in China...
I'm looking at your hat.
Oh, okay.
Because of the...
Oh, Chief Wahoo right there. I got the Black Sea and Chief Wahoo. So I got this at my work. One of the moms got it for me. So I love this hat. We love the Indians here. We are. Well, if you want, we'll talk about that too when we're done with the Chinese. Okay. But the point is, here I'm going to write it down. Indians. When I listen to this...
when I was looking at it, did you think there was like a bee on you or something?
Oh, no, I thought you were looking out the window because there's a tornado warning right now.
No, we're not worried about that.
I thought you saw the skies getting darker. I'm like,
we're not worried about the tornado.
We are going in Ted's basement. We're going to we're going to have the highest views ever. We're going to run off screen.
The house is going to be flying off its foundation, and we'll be bitching about the Chinese.
Yeah, and the video's flying, and we're like, oh, look, it's the inside of a tornado. 1 million people watch, and they're like, we're just going to fast forward the part where the two dopes are talking and go straight to the tornado. Right? So, but what we exported is BS because now this guy's like, oh, no, this is how you get ahead in China. You work your ass off. No, this is how you work yourself into the ground and end up dead. Right? Because that's what the Americans tell their workers. If you just worked harder, you would get ahead. Yeah. You work 6 days a week, some weeks. Are you getting ahead?
No.
In theory, if I took trips at my job, I wouldn't get ahead. I would make short-term money that would probably put me in the grave sooner. Right? And again, I mean to bring your dad into Beacon of Speech, but, usually when you have a heart attack at 40, you could be like, oh, he is predispositioned or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you were working manual labor, there's a chance that you worked into the grave. Well, it would be nice just to be like Magic Johnson and say, oh, you know what worked? You know what sucks? Work! I'm just going to kick back here. And Magic Johnson, he's gained a lot of weight. Since he was handsome Magic Irving. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's fat like me. I'm saying that, he's not as, good looking as he used to be. Okay? And we're like, Fred, you're not good looking. I know I'm not good looking. Okay? Quit pushing that on me. But it would be nice to say, I'm going to quit my job, and I am going to be on my cell phone, and I'm going to send out tweets, and I'm going to look at video games, and I'm just going to work 40 hours a week, bitching about music or bitching about whatever and doing Beacon of Speech. That's what I want to do. But, Fred, you need to get to work. This is the real world. And again, what is real anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was on the Blaze. Okay? It was on the Blaze, and it was a girl who was 21 years old, and she was beautiful. Okay? And Glenn Beck was making fun of her. Oh, I gotta get out of my magic position. I gotta sit back up. He was making fun of her because when she was 18, she was from a poor background, and she was beautiful, right? Big breasts, sparkling eyes, right? And she worked at McDonald's, and she's like, holy cow, this sucks, right? Quit right away. And then she was a prostitute because she wanted to make money without working hard. Well, guess what happens to prostitutes? They get beat up, ugly guys want to have sex with you, blah, 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 right? She discovered that if she took pictures of herself nearly nude or in bikinis and then posted them to Instagram, she could get follows. And again, think about what we were looking at before we got on. So she takes a picture of her like this, and people are like, you are hot, right? And then she got 1 million followers by being hot and saying crazy things, right? And she became a social media influencer, right? So she had 1 million people following her, right? She went from literally prostitution to 1 million people following her between 19 and 21. Instagram cracked down on pornography, right? And they said that she had slightly passed the line between a tease, okay, watch where my hand is, a tease and pornography, right? So they discontinued her account so she can't make money. She went on a rant. She went to YouTube. She's like, life isn't fair. I can't work. I had 1 million followers and they took away my account. And now I have to get a job. I can't work. I'm not meant to be a worker. I can't go back to prostitution. The men are so ugly. Right? And again, Glenn Beck's making fun of her because he's like, listen, that's what everybody does. Everybody cannot be a social media follower or influencer. And again, Instagram got in trouble because they said she was closer to pornography than rated R. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, technically, you're not that far from prostitution. You know, here's prostitution. Here's, you know, just taking a naked picture of yourself and posting them for 1 million people. It's not a large leap. It's a leap, don't get me wrong, but it's not a large leap. And so the whole what is work anymore, it's like fluid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you worked hard and got ahead and you're like, listen, I built that Lamborghini by hand and I made good money building Lamborghinis, right? You have some satisfaction of work, and at the end of the day, even though your hands are greasy and cut up, you built a car.
Right.
You have pride that you built something, and you have money in the bank because you have a skill, right? Nowadays, you lose your 1 million social media followers. You're like, I have no skills. And I watched a video.
Now I have nothing.
Yeah, and the girl, and the funny thing is, she's painfully self-aware. You know how I'm always self-aware, you know, about the gray beard and getting fat? She's aware too. She's self-aware. She's like, I don't have skills. How in the world am I going to make money? And it's like, I have skills that I have during my day job, right? I have to be able to, you know, do programming and all that other fun stuff. So in theory, but that'd be like, I have no skills. The beacon of speech fails. What am I going to do? You know, I just go back to the day job. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you remember how Seinfeld was a show based on nothing?
Yeah.
It's like this is a country based on
a country based on nothing. And you used to say it. What do we make anymore?
Yeah.
You know, we make trouble, right? And again, fat 400-pound boss at your old work. We don't say his name. Okay? He thinks of employees not as teammates, but he thinks of them as equipment. Equipment that makes noise. Right? Listen, quit complaining, equipment. Your job is to be a cart. So cart that box over there or drop. You see what I'm saying? And I say all the time because sometimes I have to drive at my work. Not all the time. Right? But, you know, all these self-driving cars, when you drive down 480, right? You drive down 480, how many trucks do you see? You see trucks all the time. Yeah. And you see delivery vans. If you have self-driving trucks and vans, where do those people go?
I know.
And it's like, oh, well, don't have any more kids. Oh, too late, they're already there.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know how that's ever going to work.
Oh, well, let me use the truck analogy. In theory, I can see how the truck will work. You know, you can run them in the middle of the night when people aren't running, blah, 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 right? I can eventually see in 20, 25 years that happening. I cannot see it happening where there's rush hour. You see what I'm saying?
Right. I can't see the combination of driverless cars and people driving.
Right.
You know, I think that's going to be the problem.
Yeah. Yep. And you're right. And to make things worse, you know where I work, we won't say it out loud, but where I work, can you imagine a place where there's driverless buses? Ever. Right? Because as soon as there's no driver on the bus, you still have to have an adult on the bus. Yeah. Right? Because you're like, well, it's if you don't have an adult on the bus, Lord of the Flies. Right? And when I was a kid, I read Lord of the Flies. Okay? And it scared the crap out of me. I'm like, I can't believe kids would be like this. Right? This is the exception, not the rule. Right? And now that I'm a parent, I'm like, oh my God, I don't think they went far enough with Lord of the Flies. If there were no adults, I think kids would be killing each other. I think if me and my wife died, right? I think if me and my wife died and we just left a pile of money on the table and said, listen, or even me and my wife disappeared. We just left a pile of money on the table for the kids. We'd be like, you are mature kids. You'll be fine. Pay the bills. It wouldn't matter. They would kill each other, right? I'd be like, Lord of the Flies. And that's why I say all the time, Lord of the Flies, Lord of the Flies. You know, you would think that they'd be good, and they'd be like, oh, you know what, we got brought up in the Catholic faith, and, you know, we're going to praise Jesus, and we're all in this together, and we all know where mom and dad are, but we're going to get through this. No, they'd be killing themselves. They kill each other, killing the neighbor kids, right? And I'd be like, we're going to send social services over to Fred's house. I don't mean my kids specifically. I mean all kids, right? And I'm telling you, if there were no adults when I was a kid, I wouldn't have lived to be an adult because I knew some bad kids, right? They would have killed me. They would have killed me and fricasseed me up on the barbecue. And I've told this story to you. I've told this story to you on the air. I knew kids who used to build pipe bombs when I was a kid. You know, people are like, oh, when you were a kid, there was no Columbine. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I know kids who built pipe bombs, put them in people's mailboxes, hoping they all open the mailboxes. Did you know kids who used to smash mailboxes with bats?
I didn't know any, but I do know that went on.
Yeah. I had a friend who used to torture animals, right? It's like, no, this has been going on since dawn of time.
Yeah.
What the internet has done is made kids more efficient at being bad kids. The internet has
I always say the internet is just a great tool for criminals.
Right. And it has made bad kids more efficient. And they're like, oh, you know what, I'm a bad kid, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to spray paint, you know, a tree. And they're like, oh, well, you know, at the end of the day, the kid wasn't smart enough to do anything. And now they're like, oh, well, what I'll do is I'll look up Columbine.
See, the internet is there for criminals to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the whole thing. From the top to the bottom, I'm waving the wrong hand. From the top to the bottom in this nation, everything is buzzwords. Because at our old job, that was the thing. Don't work harder, work smarter, not harder. Said it all the time, work smarter, not harder. Well, who's going to work? I'm going to sit well, you know what? We're going to sit in the office, and we're going to think. You don't think. You just do what we say. And you're like, well, that really doesn't get me ahead in life, and I'm not making enough money to get ahead. Well, you should have thought smarter and you should work smarter and got promoted. Well, everybody can't be promoted. Everybody can't be the boss. You can't have a whole...
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, you'll never get promoted if you deconstruct everything I say. And that's why when I saw the thing with the Chinese guy, I'm like, all of this guy is a BS artist like half the people in America.
And we're responsible for
it's our fault. Some guy in China, he's like, those people in America are full of shit, and I'm just going to say what they say, and I'll be a genius. And they're like, you know who's a genius? That guy in China.
So that's our influence on that.
Yeah, is BS. We were talking about the Indians. Okay, I'm not gonna bash on the Chinese anymore.
So it's almost like we're selling them the rope that they hang us
Oh,
with.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why I'm afraid of the Chinese until I die. Afraid of the Chinese because they're the only ones.
Is that what the C's for?
Yeah, the Chinese. Red China. No. The Chinese are the only people who can occupy America. Right? They're the only ones where there's enough people where they could send just boats and just waves of people and occupy America. As much as we hate Russia, supposedly, I love Russia.
That is right.
That is right. You keep saying that you love Russia.
That is right, Fred Hunt.
You know who controls Fred Hunt? The Russians. He loves them. But anyhow, Russia, their population, even if you put the Soviet Union back together, they do not have enough. Yeah, they do not have enough. They don't even. I don't know if you know this or not. You know what's going on. Let me return to the Indians. Do you know what's going on in Russia right now?
No.
Their population is dwindling in Russia proper. They do not have enough people to farm the land. Now, in the center of Russia, where it's like, the center of America, the breadbasket of America, they do have a very fertile Midlands, right, where they can farm, right? Now, people don't mind going there. They're like, oh, it's like saying, hey, Ted, we're going to send you to Nebraska. You're like, I don't want to go to Nebraska, but, Nebraska's
the
not
Russians generally aren't having a lot of kids, right?
Right. They're not having kids. They're drinking themselves to death, blah, 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 right? Right now, they will give away free land in the equivalent of Alaska, the northern part of Alaska, because they cannot farm the land. It's a hard life. Nobody wants to live out there, and everybody there is an alcoholic.
Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that basically Siberia?
Yeah, Siberia.
So free land in Siberia.
Free land in Siberia. All you have to do is move there and be white, right?
Now, is this offer open to non-Russia residents?
Yes. It is open to, okay, you listen, South African farmers, okay? Because in South Africa, the black Constitutional Congress or whatever they have in South Africa, they said, who's exploiting African lands? The whites. And the whites are like, oh crap, I think this can go real bad, just like it did in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And Russia goes, no, hey, South African farmers, you come to Siberia, we give you land for free.
Because aren't they like starting to take their lands?
Yep.
So,
but in the South African argument is
so
the white man came.
Russia is willing to help out.
Right, they're willing to help out the right people. Wait. We gotta make it. We gotta make Putin
the
wink.
Right people, Fred Hunt.
We are willing to help out the right. Where's the wink? Right here. The right people, if you know what I mean. So they're trying to get white South Africans to move to Russia.
You know what's funny? I just glanced at Putin, just like really quick, and he kind of reminded me a little bit of Mel Brooks.
Don't. I am much more serious. I'm smarter than Mel Brooks.
Can you see that though? A little bit.
Hey, don't tell anybody.
I am not a joke.
I am not Jewish.
No, do you see what I see? Is he?
Yeah. No, I see that. Putin wants South Africans to come there, white South Africans. And he has also opened it up to other countries, like in Europe. And I think like the Poles or former, like people in Belarus who just want friends of Russia, like Ukrainians, like, you stay there. No Ukrainians! No Ukrainians and no minorities. Right? But they have that program, and they said South Africans are actually taking them up on it and moving to Siberia. Now, because there's so much land up there, they're not sending them to the gulags. You know what I mean?
Are you gonna put Putin on the cover page? Because he's becoming a bigger part.
I think we should, but remind me when I redesign. Maybe I'll take off Ginger Baker and I'll put Putin on, because that's a good idea. We'll take off Ginger Baker, because right now Ginger Baker's probably contacting his lawyers. He's like, how much does Beacon of Speech make? Because we're going to sue them for using my likeness. I'd be like, no, it's funny. I'm redirecting people to cream. He's like, oh no, I'm suing.
You want to really piss him off? Put Jack Bruce on.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Jack Bruce on there and say, I always hated Ginger Baker. Oh, you know what? We'll put a picture of Jack Bruce and put Ginger Baker, same as Ringo. We will get sued so fast. We have 3 people reading the blog. We would get sued so fast we wouldn't even exist. But I want to go back to the Indians.
Ginger Baker, John Bonham's apprentice.
Yeah.
That would drive him up a wall.
The Indians. Now, I'm going to take off the hat again, okay? We got rid of Chief Wahoo, okay? So you cannot buy, there's no more Chief Wahoo gear officially sanctioned to wear by the Indians. And by the end of this year, And by the end of this year, they're not going to sell Chief Wahoo. They said they're going to phase them out. So they're going with the Feather, the Black Sea. So, on opening day of Cleveland Indians baseball, guess what happened outside the stadium?
Wasn't there like a protest?
Protest. What were they there to protest? I'm being serious. Do you know why they were protesting?
I can't remember what it was exactly, but I do.
No, you know.
I do know.
Why were they there to protest? I'll give you a hint.
Chief Wahoo?
No. I'll give you a hint. Let me look at my hat. They're protesting the word Indians.
No.
Because we still haven't figured out that Indians are a character of real Indians. So again, the whole reason we have this shirt up here, okay, it's from the movie Blasphemers, blah, blah, blah. Second time I've mentioned it, is because now if you use an image of an Indian, even if it's respectful, you are being mean. They want the name banned. And they said, well, we know you got rid of Chief Wahoo, but that was just common sense. Okay, now we want the name banned, and you can...
Never stops.
That's exactly right. Once you give an inch, because as soon as you get rid of the Indians, right, they'd be like, well, your colors are still Indian, right? You see what I'm saying? So it never stops. And granted, there was less protesters, and the protesters were...
now, do they give Atlanta a hard time?
Yes. But not as hard of a time as they give, because Chief Wahoo is offensive. Okay? That is an offensive character. We should be banned just by wearing it. But again, if I take off the hat, there's all my Indian stuff right there. Who's that? Carlos Santana is right there. And it says Indians right on the shirt, so they don't want that either. We have the Indian caricature from the movie. We got an Indian's hat right over there, so guess what? It's not going anywhere. So they'd be like, we don't want Beacon of Speech to have Indian merchandise. Listen, we're trying...
Wouldn't it be funny if there were people protesting outside the house?
Well, yeah. We don't have anybody watching, but we got people protesting on the newly paved sidewalk. But that's the whole thing. That's about... We're talking about freedom of speech here. Okay? The whole thing that we do, and the whole reason I use the Indian name and the Indian caricature is because it's innocuous. You know what I mean? Let's just say that somebody came up to me and they're like, Fred, you don't understand how offended Indians are. Okay, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to take this down, I'm going to take this down. And our new man, we'll just have Putin up there. Okay, Putin's multifaceted. Okay? Now, they just took away my rights, and I freely gave them up, right, over a cartoon of an Indian. You see what I'm saying? So what happens when they say, Fred, we just want to take away your free speech, and we want to take away parts of your First Amendment rights to freedom of the press, right? I'd be like, okay. You see what I'm saying? The Indian caricature and the word is innocuous. You know what I mean? It is. And people are like, it's offensive. Ted, for the millionth time, when I worked with you at our former company, how many times did I walk in and I say, I am offended? I'm offended by something that somebody did.
Every day.
Every day. God damn, he offends me by his stupidity. That guy is so stupid he's offended. Oh, maybe I don't like that. Maybe I don't. You see what I'm saying? But guess what? We're a big melting pot. Free speech. Right? Unless you get in my face and unless you get on the thing and say, I am going to effing kill Fred Hunt, you basically have free speech. I hate Fred Hunt. Well, guess what? Get in line. Right? Ted probably goes to bed half the time. God damn, I hate Fred Hunt. If I didn't... right now, Joe Kaufman, he's like, God, I'm glad I'm not doing Beacon of Speech. The only reason, and I believe this, and if Joe was here, he would, oh, Fred, that's not the case. Joe Kaufman thinks this is a lottery ticket. He thinks one day that this might be successful. He'd be like, well, I don't want to lose that because it'd be better than working while I'm working. But damn, I don't want to see Fred. Because he annoys me and he yells a lot. He's always talking about Indians. And there's no Indians that live in our whole county. We can walk up and down the street, there are no Indians. There's no Indians to be offended by my hat. Well, they're offended in North Dakota. I don't live. We're not doing the show in North Dakota. What if dudes called the Caucasians? Oh my God. Things offend me all the time. What am I going to do about it? Nothing. I'll bitch about it on Beacon of Speech. Right? Fred, if you were Russian, you could make certain of your problems go away. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, man. Putin's always a hit.
That's the best prop we ever bought. Because I keep telling you, one day I want, just like Magic Johnson. I just want to be Magic Johnson, right? I just want to be Fred Hunt. I want to take out the mask. I want to have props. I want to be like, what's his name? Carrot Top, right? Here.
Are you going to start working out a lot so you can...
Oh, yeah, so I look like, here. You remember what on Beacon of Speech I showed you? When you press on the Fred Hunt symbol, what happens?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I want, Ted. This is me. I don't care. I'll be like, you know what? I'm just a monkey. Wait, I'm doing it. I'm just going to do that whole episode. I'll be like, oh, screw you guys. That's my free speech. I can do whatever hell I want. Right? I'm a monkey. I'll put those back. We almost never use those props. When we had Joe Kaufman would go through that box. He'd be like, what's this? And I'm talking and he's like rattling. I'd be like, Joe. It's supposed to be like classic Hollywood style, like when they used to have radio programs. Right? And then I said, we got to go to video because nobody's doing radio programs. And Ted did not want to do it. And I made him do it.
I still want to go back to radio.
Well, but that's the whole thing. In my head, and this is why I explained to Ted, and behind the curtain, I said, Ted, listen, I know you just want to do radio. If we just do radio, we're never going to make it. Well, we're not making it. And in Ted's head, he's like, we're not making it now. Right? But I wanted to get used to in order to be successful on the radio, I think you have to simulcast. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's the world we live in. Even people on podcasts, they show video of their podcasts. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm like, I wanted to get used to when nobody was around, and I ham it up and I look in the camera and stuff you're not supposed to do. But we're amateurs, right? You're an amateur, I'm an amateur. And so the goal is to make money out of it one day. Well, then there'd be like, I read a great article from Rob Zombie, and you'll get a kick out of this, okay? When you were in the band Wasted Space, how did the drum set and the guitars get on the stage?
How did they get on there?
Yeah, how did they get on the stage?
We put them
Did
there.
you wiggle your nose?
No, we were the roadies.
You were your own roadies,
Yeah.
right? So Rob Zombie is telling this story, and I'm watching it, and I like Rob Zombie, okay? I respect him. And he said, listen, we were playing in our hometown, whatever that hometown was, right? And they were really good, but they're playing hard rock, guitar-driven hard rock, right? And at the end of the show, they would take their gear and load it on the van and then go to the next city over, the story is old as time,
Yeah.
right? They had done that for like 3 years, and they were dirt poor. Again, dirt poor. Made no money, just like the band we were talking about when we started. They signed a record contract. The very next day they had a show. They're loading up their van. And they said 2 hipsters walked up to them while they were loading up their own gear into the van. And they said, we used to like you, but you sold out. Right? He's like, dude, I cannot make a living like this. And I guess Rob Zombie, not attacked him, but he's like, listen, I need to make money. He's like, don't tell me I sold out. Get the hell out of here. I'm loading my own van. I don't even have roadies. Right? He goes, at some point, you have to have a plan to make money.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's great if you could be on an independent label and grow your own brand like a slow, like you're growing a plant, a slow seed. And he goes, but you're going to starve for 5 to 10 years. And he goes, when a big company came to us and said, we're going to give you money to play music, we're like, please, where do we sign?
Yeah.
Do we sign in our own blood? Do we have to take like Satan's pen and play gold guitars? You're like, we will do it because we are broke.
Hmm.
If we can't do that, we're not going to be able to do this much longer. We're going to have to get real jobs. Rob Zombie said technically we sold out as soon as we signed that first contract. And he goes, it was a shitty contract and we got like, say industry standards were 10%, he got like 3%. And then they played hardball with him. And they're like, well, listen, you're a new band. You've never signed a contract. You don't know about the record business. And Rob Zombie's like, oh, I got the pen. Now, stop talking. Please, just pay me money. Right? Pay me money to play music. And he was spot on. It's the same thing with Beacon of Speech. At some point, maybe not, but somebody might be like, we'll give you money, but we're going to have to do blah, 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 take down the Indian stuff. I can't take that. Ted Coley always wanted the Indian stuff. I never wanted it. I love the pirates. I hated the Indians. Ted Coley made me wear that stupid Indians hat. Look, I'll wear my hat backwards like Kevin Smith. Okay, we're good. Well, nobody's selling out here. Oh, no, look. Minnesota Vikings. We're all Vikings fans. We don't care about the Indians.
That is a Viking shirt.
That is. So, but the whole thing is everything is what you're selling. And what do you make anymore? Where's the cars? Who's making the cars? The robots
who
are
was
making
14?
the cars.
What was that, like Tommy Kramer or something?
You'll get kicked out of this. Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson.
Yeah. Maybe I got his wrong. Maybe I got his first name wrong, but it's Johnson. Maybe it's Tim Johnson. I can't remember.
What was it, the quarterback?
Yeah. Is it Kevin Johnson?
Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson! Well, I don't know where I came up with. Who's. Brad Johnson's a meteorologist.
Nice.
No,
Brad Sussman.
Brad. Oh, man, now I'm really confused. It's my shirt, now I remember. He's the quarterback of the Vikings. You're right, it's Brad Johnson.
Are you sure I'm right?
Kevin Johnson is the meteorologist.
I don't.
Brad Sussman is also a meteorologist. I think that's where we're getting confused. The whole point of my story is that we don't make anything anymore. What we do is we export BS. And that poor social media influencer, that poor girl.
You see a BS like assembly line.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, where's the jobs for the middle class? Shitty job, crappy jobs at Walmart. And then you wonder why nobody's happy and why everybody wants to be a social media influencer.
BS factory.
Ted, I keep hearing thunder. I assume that tornado's gone. Okay? But we have been under a tornado warning the whole time we've done this. You haven't felt the house shake, right?
No.
I have expect there to be limbs on my car when I leave. And my wife will be like, you scratched a car! Okay? But listen, the whole point of free speech, and again, we'll start from the beginning. It's under attack in America from the right, who is like, if you just work hard, you'll make money. And that's just a flat out lie now. And it's under attack from the left, where everybody is like, if you're just politically correct, the world will be great.
So our motto is don't work hard and save your sanity.
So don't work hard and save your sanity. Everybody start podcasts. Well, I'll be doing podcasts. That should be our slogan. If you watch my podcast, I'll watch your podcast. So all of a sudden we'll be flocked with podcasts. I actually had an idea because I do the blog, right? Are you familiar with Drudge Report? Yeah. Ted, you're getting stronger. Look at Ted's arms.
Yeah.
Ted's getting stronger. I'm getting weaker. Look at this. Look, I don't mean to be distracted. But you see how flabby that is?
Mm-hmm.
Ted, it's like a woman. Okay? I'm sorry to offend women, but you got like real muscles.
That's from how hard I work.
Well, that's my point. I'll say it again. I'm very grateful to have Ted because I am in Never Never Land, but I still have a dream that one day, but you don't want. I don't mean to be a jerk to Magic Johnson because I like him. I'm just saying that a lot of people out there have to work. It's just insulting, and it seems like the people who work aren't getting ahead.
No.
And it's like, how do I get ahead without working? That's like the American dream now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Fred, you're going to work 60 hours a week at Beacon of Speech and make it successful. I'm like, great, sign me up. And I said this to Ted at our last job maybe 100 times. I don't mind working. I mind working here. Okay? How many times I say that? Did I really say that 100 times?
Well, you're not the first person I've heard that from.
Right.
I mean, I'm not just saying. I mean, I used to hear that like when I was a teenager, and people would be talking about working at a restaurant.
Yeah, at McDonald's or Burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind working. I just don't want to work. I don't want to work the fast food line.
I've heard that everywhere I worked.
Yeah. And so Ted's right here. He's like, Fred, it's just another in a delusional line. But are you familiar with the Drudge Report? Your muscles distracted me.
Yeah.
I was thinking Drudge Report is basically all big media, right? I'm like, if you had a Drudge Report for small media and then sold ad time for it, I'd be like, I think that might work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people like us who don't have voices, and we have voices, but you know what I'm saying, that don't have dollars behind our voices. Ted's like, hey, that sounds like a good idea.
What did you say the Drudge Report was?
Basically,
I know of it. I'm just saying, how did you characterize it? Or
Drudge Report is, you have stories. You have like the top 40 stories of the day, right? And they're all lined up on top. And then you click on the stories. None of them are from Drudge Report. One will be from like RushLimbaugh.com. One will be from Alex Jones. One will be from CNN. One will be from MSNBC. One will be from Fox News. Now, what happens, and this is why people are pissed with the Drudge Report, the people on the left say, listen, we are the news. Places like Fox News is fake news, right? We are not equal to them. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
We are better than them. And the Drudge Report's like, no. News is news. If it's a good story on The Hill, it's a good story on Mother Jones. So he picks stories from the middle, left, right, far left, far right. Puts them all on the top, right? But he still picks them out, just like I would pick out stories. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the left gets angry because they're like, no. You pick right-wing stories, and that's a right-wing conspiracy. So Drudge tries to pick from all different sides. Now the left says, well, you pick
so
more
he's
right.
assembling stories that other places have already reported.
Yeah. So he is not reporting any news whatsoever.
So he doesn't break anything.
No, he breaks almost nothing. They said he writes almost no stories. Like he writes like 5 stories a year. All he does is place links on his page and then sells ad space.
And he's been around a long time.
He's been around a long time. When he started, he was like us, where he was...
And I think he's about our age.
Yeah, he's successul, though. But...
yeah, that's where the similarities...
Yeah, that's where the similarities end. We both wear hats. But the point is...
People don't know who he is.
Yeah. Thanks, Ted. But the whole point of my story is that if you made a Drudge Report for people that were not corporate media, you know what I mean? We could do the Beacon of Speech Report, right? Mm-hmm. Or I'd be like, screw Ted Coley, we're going to do the Hunt Report. Okay? Send me your stories. You have to be a blogger. You don't not make money, but I'm going to make money off of you. And then you're happy because you're getting traffic to your site. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
CNN could be like, Drudge Report's distorting the news. And they're like, well, Drudge Report makes your stories make more money. And they're like, well, we like that part of it. They like the free money and the free ads. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it's a catch-22. Because what does a Drudge Report sell? They are basically selling a spectrum of the news. Whereas if you go to Fox News, you're getting right-wing news. Or if you go to CNN, you're getting left-wing news. Drudge Report, you're getting a rainbow of the news. Right? But Fox News doesn't want you going to CNN and Mother Jones and Daily Beast and all the other ones. They just want you, you don't have to go to all those other places. Just come here.
Well, who is it? Is it Matt Drudge?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Matt Drudge.
I was always under the impression that he himself is a conservative guy, right? Is that true? Or
supposedly he is. But there's ways to look neutral. Like, say you pick a CNN story. You pick a CNN story. Who name a celebrity who died lately?
Celebrity who died lately. Oh, gee.
Any celebrity.
For some reason, I can't think now.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, me too.
Um, okay. Someone's retiring. Okay. John McCain. John McCain has cancer. Okay. John McCain has cancer, so they pick. John McCain's dead. Okay. So Drudge would say, okay, CNN, I picked the story. John McCain is dead, as reported by CNN, right? And then for a right wing source, they say that Supreme Court battle 5-4 in favor of the conservatives for Fox News. You see what I'm saying? So Matt Drudge picked a report that literally every news station in the whole world is reporting that John McCain is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he just picked CNN. But he picked an agenda-moving story from Fox. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Matt Drudge would be like, I picked one left-wing story, one right-wing story. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So you could say that he's moving a conservative agenda, but now you're really moving deep into stories. You see what I'm saying? And is he really sitting at his desk saying conservative, liberal, or is he like, these are the 30 most interesting stories, they're going to be on the top of my website. Transvestite hooker kills male lover. Well, I'm going to put that on. It doesn't matter if you report that from CNN or Fox. You're not moving an agenda, conservative or liberal. You're just saying, wow, that's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe the transvestite killed the male lover. You see what I'm getting at? So if I did it, I could do the local version of Drudge Report. But then, you know what would happen? I would do it similar to Drudge, and Drudge would be like, I'm suing Fred Hunt! Intellectual property! Song of the day. Ted, you want to do Song of the Day? Because I said about an hour and I went long. Song of the Day from Ted Coley.
We're waiting. This always happens. It's like I wrote stuff down and now I don't know where it is.
We forgot to talk about Arlie Lang too, so we'll put that till next.
I don't know. I don't know what the song I want is. I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, no song. I'll just put it on the website.